Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Japanese Tier 9 heavy tank, the Type 4 Heavy. So is it any good? No, it's not. And that's purely because pay-to-win ammunition, especially at these higher tiers. 80 to 90% of your games you will get spammed with gold ammunition, thus nullifying your tank's strongest feature, which is its armor. I'll talk a little bit more about that during gameplay. If you're top tier, then you can bounce quite a few of the gold rounds if you angle it carefully and don't expose too much of your tank. And you can still have pretty good games as top tier, but you're only top tier 20% of the time with the current matchmaker, so it's not much fun. Anyway, what else can we tell you about the tank? Yep, heavily armoured, a choice of two guns. There are two viable guns on this tank. As you know, I only fire silver ammunition, but if you want to fire gold ammunition, I think most people use the howitzer gun. Let's actually have a quick look at the guns. No, that's not the place to look at them. This is the place to look at them. So you've got the 140mm, which is the AP firing gun, and then you've got the howitzer style, which is a 150mm gun. So the 150mm gun on the right here is the one most people use. It has a 2.45 rate of fire, so it's really slow. It takes a long time to reload. 75mm of penetration and 1100 average damage is pretty good, and that's what I fire in the standard HE. But if you want to get the use the gold ammunition, you get an extra 300 damage. That's 1400 average damage. 0.52 accuracy is awful, and a 3.2 second aiming time is pretty darn bad. So you really want to be close range most of the time. With the 140mm gun, it has a much better rate of fire. Well, it's still not good, but it's much better. 3.03 rate of fire. It has 249mm of penetration, does an average 600 damage. The average 600 damage is really good. The 249 is pretty good, and you can penetrate most tanks. It's only really the sort of heavily armoured some of the heavily armoured premiums that are coming out now, you'll have trouble penetrating with that. You have got the gold option of 282, but it's not that much more, I guess. 0.42 accuracy is pretty darn bad, so hitting weak spots at anything other than point blank range is quite difficult. You'll often fire, with both of these guns, you'll often fire at cupolas and things like that and just totally miss the tank. 2.9 second aiming time is still bad, but it's better than the 3.2 on the other gun. So they're your options. I've got a gameplay for you with both of those guns, so you can have a look for yourself and see how it goes. So we will go into the tank comparison in a second, and we'll talk about that, and then I'll have a look at the armor layout, and you can have a look at the armor layout. Then I'll show you a game where I get gold spammed at me, just so you can see what the normal game is like. Then I have a couple of games, you have one with each gun, showing you where I don't get spammed with gold, obviously, so I live long enough to do some damage. The tank, I have a super heavy spall liner fitted to try and reduce damage from artillery primarily. Then I have vents fitted to try and speed up the loading time of the gun, and I have a gun rammer also to speed up the loading time of the gun. Most of the time you want to be really close range, so the aim time isn't as important. The crew is quite a well-trained heavy tank crew. Everybody's working on 6th sense, but they haven't finished yet, so it's not working. This command has 6th sense and recon, so pretty good view range for a heavy. Snapshot, this guy's working on, he's got firefighting as well. This guy is working on smooth ride and clutch braking, so that the tank will move more quickly and turn more quickly than the standard tank. This guy's situational awareness and firefighting, so as I said, it's got good view range for heavy. Firefighting and repairs, this guy, and this guy's just got firefighting. So there you go. We'll get in now and have a look at the comparison. So I've picked a bunch of tanks, haven't got them all because there's too many, but it's a bit of a selection. And we can see I've got the AP gun selected, the 140mm at the moment, but I'll change that a bit later to the HE gun so we can compare that too. But you can see the DPM is the lowest of all of the ones selected here. Penetration of 249 now is pretty good. There's only a few that have better penetration, so you could say it's about average, pretty good. Average damage of 600 per shot is, well, the best out of this bunch, that's for sure. Module damage is good as well. Rate of fire of 303 though is bad, way less than all these guys. So yeah, you're waiting for 19.8 seconds. The mill of course says 40 seconds, that's because it's a 4-shot auto loader. Then we're looking at here, shell velocity is awful, 850, worst of the bunch. And that's with the AP rounds. ammo capacity of 60 is huge. You never need any more than that. I'll just change it now to the other gun. So back to the 150 now, and we can see that DPM goes way up, but that's assuming, of course, that we always penetrate. And with 75mm of penetration, it's not going to happen. So, in fact, the DPM will probably be easily the way lowest, unless maybe it's different if you use gold ammunition. Don't know, I haven't used it. But generally speaking, when firing at reasonably well armored tanks, like just other heavy tanks, even like tier 7s up to tier 10s, you're pretty much going to do around about 400 damage when you hit, which is a bit less than the other. It's fairly similar to some of these other tanks, but of course your rate of fire is way lower at 2.45. Some of these tanks are going to fire twice as fast, or more than twice as fast as you will. And if you're only doing 400 damage per shot, it's not good. I mean, obviously if you hit a light tank or something like that, you might do more, but yeah, it doesn't happen that often because your gun handling's pretty slow. So shell velocity 850 is still the worst. I don't know why the AP is 850 as well, but it's very, very slow. So hard to hit moving targets. Aim time of 3.2 is horrendous. Is easily the worst out of any of them. Now remember the other gun had 2.9 second aiming time, which would have been the equal worst along with the Object 257 and the WZ here. So very poor gun handling. 0.52 accuracy is easily the worst out of any of them, although the other gun has 0.42, which is still the worst of all of them, but not as bad. Moving dispersion on the gun is the second worst, the ML2, so the gun handling is truly awful. Gun elevation of 200, gun depression is 10 degrees, which is very good, but the tank is very high, so small tanks can still pull up next to you and you can't shoot them. Let's move along. Forward speed of 25 is tragically slow. It's the second slowest in this bunch. The motion is slower. We are the slowest in reverse, though at 10 degrees the motion does 15 in reverse. The weight of this tank is 161. The motion is actually heavy at 169 tonne. But 161, obviously very heavy, would be a good rammer, but it's too slow to ram anybody in reality. The terrain resistances on this tank seem pretty good. But when you look at effective terrain resistances, they're actually terrible. And it's the only one that's worse in this bunch is, in fact, that the motion. Everyone else has better terrain resistances. So the turret traverse of 17 degrees, second worst. The motion is worse at 15. And the actual track traverse is also 17. Second worst. The motion is 15 degrees. So the motion is a little slower to maneuver its gun and to actually maneuver the tank as well, but it has much better gun handling than the Type 4. So now hull armor, well, we'll have a look at the armor a bit later, but basically comparing them to each other, the only one that has stronger turret armor in theory is the Object 257 with 350. So we've got 250. It's pretty strong on the side and rear as well, and the hull armor of 150 is good and has good side and rear armor as well. And that really is the strongest feature of the tank, which is negated by the ammunition we spoke of earlier. Health of 2050 is quite strong, not as much as the motion at 2300, but it's definitely got a good amount of hit points. The view range of 390 meters is pretty good. The only one that's worse though is the ML2 in this bunch. So we've got quite a few here with 400 meter view range. And that's about it. Shell cost is 1,320, which is horrifically overpriced for the tank. That's about it. Alright, so the armor layout of the Type 4 Heavy. This tank is designed to not be penetrated frontally. So we have 250mm here, 250mm in front of the driver plate, and also 250mm on the front of the turret, but the actual mantlet area is 270mm. Very strong, very hard to penetrate. Yeah, even the cupola here is 200mm and it's quite heavily sloped. Very hard. You need like 290mm to get through it. Same here, 260, 270 to get through here, depending on where you hit from 260 upwards. And the lower plate, same thing, 260, 270 to get through it. This yellow area here is 150mm, but it's very well sloped, so even if we're the same height as this gun, which you have to be a pretty tall tank to be the same height as this gun, you got no hope of getting through it. The sloped area here on the turret and the sloped area here on the hull is thinner at 200mm in both cases, but it's quite, from the front, it's quite well sloped and it is hard to penetrate. So 380 required there, and same here, like 900 or something. so you're not going to get through there if the tank's facing this way. What will happen though is if the tank is side scraping, sometimes this becomes flat to you and you can shoot through there. It's 200 millimeters, and look, it's about 210 millimeters for me to shoot through it now. So that does become a weak point when the tank is side scraping. Other than that, the sides are pretty strong. We've got 140 millimeters on top, which for side scraping is more than enough. And this area here has lots of spaced armor overlaying other armor. Sometimes it's 2 layers of spaced armor. Well, I think the tracks count as spaced armor, but it's over the tracks and the hull, and it does help quite a bit and protects from artillery damage as well. So how do you fight one of these things front on? Well, people mostly fire gold, or you flank it, which is what you're supposed to do with super heavies like this. The upper area here is where you want to hit. It's 140 millimeters, and pretty much everybody can penetrate it, but you want to get it flat. If you're getting it on an angle like this, well then now you're needing 200 to 300 mils, so you really want to get it flat on. The area below here I would try and avoid, especially if you're firing HE or heat, but it's look, it's 35 millimeters over 140 millimeters. Here it's 35 plus the track 50 over 120, so it's going to be much more difficult to penetrate here. So just remember this sloped bit here, the bit that's the same height as that, shoot that on the side and you should be right. 200 millimeters side of the armor, very well armored turret. 200 millimeters in the back as well, so even if you're trying to shoot to the back of your turret, if you've got it a bit angled like this, it's hard to penetrate. Back of the tank is also 150 and the sides are 140, sorry, so the back's actually stronger than the side, and an angled back like this can provide quite a bit of armor as well, and you will bounce shots off the back of this tank occasionally. So protection from artillery, the top deck is very strong at 75 millimeters. That's the rear top deck, and the rear of the turret is 75 millimeters as well. The front turret area though is 90 millimeters, so very well protected from artillery, and that's one of the reasons why I run a heavy spool liner, so that hopefully when artillery hits me, they're doing so little damage they decide to leave me alone. That's my theory. Alright, so let's carry on. Our first game is on the Paris map. I'll just change it so we can see tank types. That's better. I'm going to speed this up. As you can see, the tank is pretty slow, and I've got a Type 5 next to me there with some groovy looking camouflage. I'm going to speed this up. We're going to 4 times here. Actually, I might even go to 8 times while I'm getting in position. So this game is, I just want to show you a sort of a more typical game. So this is a tier 10 game. Are we at normal speed yet? I'm at normal speed now. Okay, so here we go. It was a T10. Put one into him. I do 336 damage. I actually splashed the mill as well for about, I don't know what it was, 40 damage or something. So I'm waiting to reload here. So obviously I'm firing HE. Trying to move so I can't sort of pinpoint like a polar. The mill bounces off me. Now you can see there the T10 is already firing gold. I've just got hit, massive hit from artillery. Did 322 to me, the mongrel, and stunned me as well. And the mill bounces another shot off me. I don't know where that shot went, but it missed. Terrible accuracy on this gun. And your mill has bounced more shots off me. I'm in a really hard position for them to shoot me, so it's no wonder. I'm not giving them much to shoot at, and I'm moving, so it's no wonder they're bouncing off me. And I come down here now. I'm thinking about moving forward to this rock up here, and I just decided to go for it. I'm going to use the rock as a bit of cover. Here we go, and dog shell in there, 421 damage. That's about the kind of damage you expect to do to, you know, comparable heavies. That's not a super well armoured one, and we put the shell in a pretty good spot, so, you know, sometimes 300 and something. Here we go, the mill's trying to aim at us, and bang, he shoots us. And look at all the gold coming in, guys. Look at the gold pouring in. We're showing very little of our tank, and we're moving back and forward, and when you're spamming gold, it doesn't matter. We know how you got 2 marks of excellence in your tank, don't we? Yes, we do. But that's it, guys. That's pretty much what will happen to you, especially if you play well. As soon as you play well or get in a good position, the gold just starts flying. You can see on the bottom left there, in case you can't tell how much gold ammunition is coming out. Okay, the map is Ruinberg, and it's tier 9 game, so we're top tier. There's only 2 tier 9s on each team, so we've seen what a normal game looks like. Now we're going to see what a lucky game looks like, where we're top tier and where we, well, we don't get a lot of gold fired at us, I guess. Now in this game we're using the AP gun. So this is a gun that has, what did it have? I think it was 249mm of penetration and 600 average damage per round. Just going to speed this up a little bit while I get into position to 2 times. I think you've already got an idea of how slow the tank is, so we don't have to demonstrate that, do we? Alright, so I'm slowing down. When I'm top tier like this, I just basically, you can just front up with your armour. So Oni there. Now he actually fired, he bounced off us. I'm pretty sure he was firing HE but just couldn't get through. Now it doesn't say we bounced anything there, so maybe he missed, but I don't know. I think he hit us, didn't he? Not sure what happened there. Anyway, he's backed up, so I figure, oh, let's just go for it. Got this IS with me, so I've got support. It's not, you don't really want to get caught on your own in a Type 4 because tanks will just drive, just drive around behind you because you've got such a long load time. Oh, he's pointing his gun the other way, so he's got a nice green turret there. 545 damage that time. So 2 shots and we've already done 1200 damage, and that's where the AP gun is good. Is when you're on top tier and you've got soft targets like this poor old tiger here, you can basically just smash them up. So I decided to go for the ISM because I thought he was the more dangerous of the 2 tanks, and it looked like I fired way late there, so it might have been a bit of lag. I might have thought he was still there when I fired, but he obviously moved out of the way before I fired. So my ping is good, although it's bouncing around between 70 and 30, so oh, we get a good 527 on the tiger there, and we've now killed the tiger. Taking most of his hit, 1752 we did to him. Yeah, so my internet is terrible at night time, so I would say that I must have been playing this at night, and that's why the ping is bouncing around everywhere. You know, we had a fair bit of lag as well. This guy has not been paying attention and gets from the back, but I'm not paying attention when I get one on the side from a cheeky IKV 90B. So there you go, 252 damage to me, IKV 90B, tier 7, I think, tank destroyer, penetrated me without a gold round, right? Standard AP round. So you can penetrate this tank without gold rounds. You've just got to be smart or get in the right position. And that's the whole point of the tank. Yes, it's hard to penetrate, but that's its thing. When you fire gold at it, you take its thing away, and it's just becomes a rubbish tank. So what I'm using this tank here to cover me from the ISM as I maneuver backwards to try and take care of this IKV and the other tank, the RHM, which has now been spotted up this way as well. Keeping myself covered, and have we got a shot here? I don't know why he didn't show up as being shootable. I'm not sure what happened there. We might cop one from the ISM here. No, we make it through. As you can see, tragically slow this thing is to turn and maneuver everywhere. But anyway, I love the sound of the engine. It does sound pretty cool. Maybe we'll speed up to 2 times. Just got to watch myself a little on the left here, that I'm not going to get shot. So I do have a look through as I'm going through. Our team is doing pretty well. I'm going to slow down to normal speed again, getting ready for this RHM. I decided I'm just going to take a shot from him. And yeah, he manages to go straight through front of us. No, he doesn't. He uses HE. So he wasn't confident of his ability to penetrate us. I think a RHM probably could penetrate us. Tier 8 tank destroyer, I think it can penetrate us, but he decided to use HE. I get hit by the M12, but it only does 175 damage. We are stunned though, but I decide to just push in now and take the shot. and we finish him off. He does hit us again with HE, but only does 93 damage. I can see an ISM coming here, so I'm trying to quickly turn my tank to face him. So I've got some armour. He decides to move forward and get a better shot. He doesn't really have a penetrating shot. I don't have a penetrating shot on him either. Now I expose his side, and you poor guy. Right now I'm trying to cut off him from getting behind me, so I'm trying to drive up against the wall, but I don't quite make it. But my teammates save me. He almost got my back there. ISM not very quick either. The ISM also suffering from fatal intervention. Another hit from artillery there. Can we give him some payback? So pretty much any heavily armoured heavy tank or heavily armoured tank destroyer has become close to useless now with the amount of pay-to-win ammunition that's out there. It's just how it is. So I am driving the ISM, and I will finish driving that and review it, but I'm not going to go any higher in the Russian line. And I'm driving the Tiger P. Oh, that's the end of the game. Yeah. So that was a Class 2 badge in the game. Let's have a look at the next screen, and we finished second on our team for XP. This guy here did really well for 1354 XP. Wow. We did over 4,000 damage, so it's not bad. Top tier though. We fired 8 shots, 7 of them hit, and the 7 that hit all penetrated. 4,146 damage. Hits received 7, 4 of them penetrated. Well, it was HE, I think, most of it. Hits damage blocked 1,020, not that much really, and damage cordial assistance, very small amount. So 5 tanks damaged, 2 destroyed. Fair bit of damage, so you can do pretty good damage with that gun, if especially if you're top tier. So it definitely is a viable option, that gun. So the map is Cliff, and it's a tier 9 game again, and this time not many people fire goal at us, so we live long enough to have a pretty good game. This time we've got the HE, the howitzer style gun, which is the 75 pen, and I think it's 1100 average damage. We are going to bounce quite a lot of fire this game, so this is really just going to demonstrate how powerful the frontal armour is against lower tier tanks. And really, if you're a lower tier tank and one of these is coming towards you, just run. Don't sit in front of it and wait for it. It's slow as hell. Just get out of the way, or move into a position where you're able to get side shots. I'm just focusing up there in case an enemy scout tank decides to shoot up there. I usually can get a shot into one of them as they're getting into one of our scout tanks. Now you can see them hitting it. I do that sort of thing as well, but it doesn't come. Now, I got a mark of excellence in the tank. I think it was this, it might have been this game where I got it. And that means that even though I've been grinding a tank from scratch and a crew from scratch, I've got 149 games in, I think. Even though I've been doing all of that, I'm still playing better than 65% of players in this tank. And I've only got a 0.9 damage ratio, so I don't even have a 1-to-1 damage ratio, so on average I do less damage than I have hit points, yet I'm doing better than 65% of the other players, and that includes my grinding from scratch. So that tells you that this tank isn't doing that well, and the reason I think it's not doing that well is simply because people are going out there, oh great, I've got this tank with lots of armour, I've got a big gun, I'll go out there, and they drive out, then of course they just get smashed because everyone just hits them with gold ammunition. It's basically a big, slow target that can't get out of the way. Once you get caught in the open in this tank, the shells just come raining in. It's not unusual for you to pull out into a spot and think you're okay, and then just get suddenly hit by 5 or 6 shells at once, just go boom and explode, because if they're shooting gold, they're just penetrating it. So many tanks get to shoot at you because you're so big, they don't miss. So I see this SU-152 and I decide I'm just going to go for it. I made the decision a fair way back, I've had to turn my turret to the side of these other guys, but I figured I'd be able to just to get rid of this guy. But as it turns out, they still don't ping even the side of the turret. So we take, there's a lot of shots. As like I said, you get hit a lot on this once you expose yourself. So just then we blocked 2,000 damage, and we've been hit by artillery, who actually doesn't do any damage to us. So it looks like our spool liner was working in. It did get stuck though. I fire a shot there because I figure, well, hey, you know, they're firing at me, so there's got to be somebody there. 54 mod 1. So that's 2,500 damage with bounce now. So I didn't drive straight up to that bush originally because my tank is taller than the bush. So I really actually don't have any camouflage there with that bush next to the rock up there. So the guy next to me is driving the Tiger P, tier 7 German heavy tank. It's a very challenging tank to drive. I'm driving that at the moment. I will review it. I'm just waiting at the moment because I kind of thought, it's strange, you know, I'm sort of firing gold at me. I'm just trying to work out whether there's somebody else waiting there who's going to pummel me. So that guy got spotted, so I thought I'd move up to take a shot. But someone else got him, and now I'm kind of thinking, you know what? They're all bouncing. I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully no one's on my right waiting for me. Doesn't look like it. Looks like they're down, those tanks. So I just decided to push it now. I know there's more tanks that I can't see. I just don't know where they are at the moment, but hopefully I get close enough we'll start to see them. The Stutter Mill is bouncing off me, and there it is. Well, he's got not much armor, so let's see what our HE shell does to me if we can hit him. 480. Not that good when you think of how thin the armor is. And that does happen sometimes with this gun. I've even shot a Scorpion in the turret with this the other day and did 180 damage to it. So I don't know why, but sometimes the gun just doesn't seem to give proper damage with HE. It's not a bad one, 408. Like I said when I was talking about the tank earlier, yeah, you can expect to do around about 400 damage per shot with most tanks, unless, you know, they are really lightly armoured, but even then sometimes you do almost nothing. Sometimes you do a heap. It just doesn't seem to follow logic as far as what you do. In other words, I think it's slightly rigged. He's side scraping there and we just catch the edge of him, and that's where the HE gun is great. So AP round there we wouldn't have been able to do anything, but the HE round we actually able to take him out, and we did quite a bit of 437 damage just clipping the backside of his tank. We've now bounced almost 6,000 damage. We line up on this Stutter Mill here. 370 damage. Nice. So I'm using the bush just so that it's a little bit harder for them to target particular areas of the tank. They're just getting a silhouette. Even so, it's that big, I suppose. So I've got this Tiger P. I don't have a shot of him. I'm waiting for him to poke out from the building, but he's not, so I start moving forward. There's a T-29. Not worth firing on the move. This thing is so inaccurate. It is 0.52 accuracy. There's just no point. Then he gets behind a wall and my HE shell will explode at the wall and not go through the wall, so there's no point there. Now he comes right at me. I've got time to aim, so I put it side into his side for 410. Not a bad shot. T-29 flies back and bounces. I'm pretty sure that T-29 does not have the top gun. I think he's got the first gun. 240 damage with bounce from him, and that's not as much as that gun can do, so I'm pretty sure he's got the stock gun. And can we get the kill shot here? And no, somebody else gets it just before we reload. So now it's just that STG over there. Artillery just hit us again for 105. So you can see the artillery is not doing big damage to us, and that's partly because we've got great armour and partly because of the super heavy spool liner. So we know where the arty is, it's just a matter of whether I can see him. Getting ready, there he is. So the AMX spotting for us, we get the killing shot. Very nice. End of the game. That was also a Class 2 game in the tank, and we got Steel Wall and... oh, what's that one called? Cool Headed, I think it is. So let's have a look at the next screen, and we did 3,122 damage, which was 1,016 XP, which is a Class 2 in the tank. And shots fired 9, 8 hits, 8, well, in theory, penetrations, 3,122 damage with a HE gun. We received 32 hits, only 3 of them penetrated, and I'm pretty sure 2 of those were HE from the artillery. So yeah, 6,750 bounced, and 5 spotted, 6 damage, 4 destroyed, tiny bit of assistance damage, not much. So the moral of this story is, do not sit in front of this tank shooting at it, because unless you're a higher tier and you're firing gold, you're probably not going to pen it. The idea is to flank it and get around it, and that's the whole point of the tank, being very slow and having poor maneuverability. So yeah, don't sit in front of it. Anyway, the tank can be good in situations like those, but generally speaking, that, like I said, that first game you saw where it's got pummeled with gold and destroyed, even though I thought I was positioning myself reasonably well, that is most of your games. The last 2 games are just what happens if you're kind of lucky. Anyway, thank you for watching my review of the Type 4 Heavy. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to Reginaldesq. Have fun.